Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Thursday, January 5th. Our first round of rain and snow that is coming our way over the next few days arrives later on today and into tomorrow. And like we've been saying, more of it is ahead. We do have a bit of a break Saturday. We have more coming Sunday, and that will continue to next week. The best chance at the moment appears to be coming in Tuesday. That likely will change between now and then, but at least the early part of next week has a better chance of rain and snow. We continue to advertise these warmer temperatures, especially for valley and Snake Plain locations, that will bring some increasing snow melt. However, this time around, this last event where we had quite a bit of wet snow, quite a bit of rain, especially at mid-slope and lower elevations, we don't have a multiple-day event coming, one that at least is going to last with very little breaks in there. That's the difference. We're going to have that this time. So I don't, at this point, talking about any more significant runoff, melting, it doesn't look like necessarily coming at this point, but do expect some increasing snowmelt as the pattern will be a warmer one across the region. On the satellite this morning, you can see we have our low off the coast of California. We have the moisture wrapping in from the south, and that is the key, it looks like, in the next few days. The flow, instead of coming more from the west over the Cascades and Sierras, it's really going to be impacting the Sierras to our southwest. But you can see quite a bit of moisture. We have several different storms moving across the Pacific Ocean, and you can see that that big track of moisture coming in. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily look like it's on the right path or strong enough to give us a lot of deep, wet snow and rain across our area. So like we said, rain and snow arrives later on today. The impacts will be generally over the southeast and eastern highlands. In the central mountains, it will be mainly around the Red River area, the Sawtooth area. The higher elevations of the South Hills, there'll be some snow, like going up towards Pomerelle and Magic Mountain. For the Snake Plain, far upper part of the Snake Plain heading towards up to Du Bois and Spencer. And it does look like actually maybe up around the Shoshone lava beds to craters we could have a couple of inches of wet snow later on today in that area. Otherwise, those lower elevations, it's going to be a mix of rain and snow or all rain for a period. Now, for tomorrow, we have precipitation ending from west to east. Most of the impacts that will be in our area, they'll be minor, again, east of I-15. And this trend just pretty much continues on into the early part of next week. Like we said, a bit of a break in terms of more widespread, impactful precipitation Saturday, Sunday. Looks like maybe a little better chance of snow in the central mountains, and then we have more coming in Monday. But like I said, the next best chance will be, at this point, it looks like Tuesday. So how are things shaping up? Looking at, this is what you would look like if you were looking at your radar picture out there for the next little while. And as you'll notice, we do have a little bit of stratus, some cedar feeder, light snow potential, even some patchy fog. Very, very, very small chance of patchy fog across the Arco Desert and the upper Snake Plain over into the eastern highlands today. And you'll notice later this morning, that initial push of moisture moves into this Sun Valley, Wood River area, coming into the western and portions of the Magic Valley up towards Shoshone. That'll slowly spread east today, and you'll notice a lot of the moisture initially stays across the north, moving into the Sawtooth, the Sun Valley area, up across the Arco Desert into the Island Park area. And then, more broken as you head to the south. As we go through the day, we do see the moisture kind of expanding. And like we said, by the time we get in this afternoon, rain and snow in some of our lower elevation areas. And that slowly spreads eastward during the overnight hours and later tonight and tomorrow. Most of that precipitation is going to be over the southeastern and eastern highlands. And elsewhere, there'll be a smattering of light rain and snow showers continuing. That goes through the morning tomorrow, and then a little bit trying to regenerate over the eastern highlands later in the afternoon. And by the evening, just a few showers around. Nothing of consequence, it looks like, at this point for this first round of precipitation coming through. So going back to some more specifics on our forecast. It will be breezy around the area today. Now, most of the breeze across the lower elevations will be across the Magic Valley. The down valley flow through the Shoshone area into the Jerome area with some gusts over 30. Higher elevations, we're seeing some gusts over 30 as well, especially maybe some gap winds from around American Falls, at least this morning down towards Burley. in those areas. Some of those gusts in the lower elevations in excess of 20 miles per hour. For this afternoon, we'll finally see some southerly downslope winds starting to develop. That helps with the increasing warm temperatures along the interstate corridor. Also, maybe cutting down on the overall chance of precipitation due to the downslope in those areas. But still, across the South Hills and the Southeast Highlands, some of those ridgetop winds in excess of 30, the same up across the Central Mountains. The down valley wind continues at least around Shoshone and the lava beds into the Jerome area. Those gusts around 20 to 30 miles per hour, it looks like at this point. And you'll see with the upslope conditions, a couple of inches across the around craters up to north of Shoshone into the Wood River Valley and surrounding mountains. A couple of inches up around Spencer, maybe over towards Reynolds Pass, the Island Park area there along the Montana border. Elsewhere during the rest of the day, snowmounts will be fairly light, and you can see where we have that warm corridor along the interstate corridor, the downslope winds mixing with the warm temperatures, little to no snow accumulation, and it should be mostly rain, or at least enough of a mix with rain that nothing would be accumulating. And there are those warm temperatures. It'll be above freezing in the Teton Valley today, and basically if you draw a line from Ashton all the way down through Twin Falls and to the south, some of these valley locations in the mid-30s to low 40s, mid-40s as you head over the Treasure Valley, above freezing in Stanley today at 35 degrees. And going into this evening, the winds do die down, but we still have some ridgetop winds in excess of 20 miles per hour, especially down across the South Hills and the southeastern highlands and the big holes. And that trend in the wind continues to die down in the overnight hours. And like we said, overnight we start to see the better chance of snow shifting into the South Hills and the Southeast Highlands. And some of these ridgetop areas, higher elevation areas, seeing some snow amounts 3 to 4, maybe 5 inches. 5 inches is probably pushing it, especially down across the Bear River Range. But there will be some accumulating snow in the mountains. Not much in the lower elevations, but there could be some slick spots by morning over towards Soda Springs and the Bear River area, or Bear Lake area, excuse me. For tomorrow, those winds gusting around, especially later in the morning and the afternoon, some of those gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour up and down the Snake Plain and Magic Valley, also into the South Hills and the higher elevations down south. Not much wind as you head farther to the north. And for the rest of the day tomorrow, we talked about some of that light snow lingering. Maybe a little better chance of seeing a couple of inches of snow across the higher elevations of the Bear River Range for tomorrow. That'll be mainly early on in the day. And temperatures tomorrow a little bit cooler, but still above freezing. Ashton, Idaho Falls, down towards Burley and Twin Falls, down south towards Oakley, City of Rocks. Again, upper 30s to low 40s, mid 40s as you head into the Treasure Valley. And you can see down towards Montpelier, just above freezing. Also, some of the valley locations in the Central Mountains sitting right at just above freezing for tomorrow as well. And for tomorrow night, very little snow. And a lot of this tomorrow night will be, again, as high pressure briefly builds over us, the Cedar Feeder light snow flurry activity continuing over the eastern highlands and along the I-15 corridor as well. Temperatures on Saturday, we rebound a little bit with less precipitation potential, especially down through the lower Snake Plain over towards the Treasure Valley, of a little more sunshine. But you can see temperatures not really changing too much. So we've been talking about some of these warmer valley temperatures, and that is definitely showing up in the forecast. For Sunday, within a degree or two of where we are on Saturday. We talk about the rain and snow in the forecast. On Monday, we start to pick up a little bit of a warm push ahead of that stuff coming in for Tuesday, as it appears a little more mid-40s from Burley south and west during the forecast. Now, we've been talking about, and I'm sure you've heard about, we've got a lot of this moisture coming into the west coast, a big push of moisture from the Pacific. But you'll notice, and I did mention this a little bit earlier, a lot of this is falling over the Sierras and the coastal regions of California. It's not really going to be reaching us, and the reason is, instead of the low itself initially moving in and the moisture coming in from the west, more of a westerly direction, it's coming in from the southwest and is going to stay to our west for several days. Probably that push coming Tuesday is when that area of low pressure offshore finally makes it in here. So where's all this moisture we've been talking about? You've been hearing about it in the news. Where is it falling? For now, it's definitely falling off into the Sierras and to some extent up into the Cascades as well. So, better chance of rain and snow today. That continues into tomorrow. A lull Saturday, picking up again Sunday onward, especially as we get towards Tuesday when the low offshore finally looks like it's moving inland across the western U.S. And we'll stress again, yes, it will be warmer. There will probably be some snow melt in some areas, but we don't have to worry about the rain on snow, the prolonged rain on snow we had at mid-slope and lower elevations the last time around with this. So certainly we're going to have to be watching maybe some increasing river and stream levels, but at this point, nothing significant is coming down the pike at this point. Have a great Thursday, and do stay safe out there, everyone.